Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. 15-year-old Tishani Barrett missing. An another alert has been activated for 15-year-old Tishani Barrett of Morris Lane, Hertford, Westmoreland, who has been missing since Saturday, April 30. She is of brown complexion, medium build, and is about 5 feet 4 inches tall. Tishani has a mold on the left side of her face and is currently wearing green braces on her teeth. Reports from the Savannah Lamar police are that Tishani was last seen at her home about 11 a.m. wearing a leopard print blouse and blue jeans. She has not been heard from since. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Tishani Barrett is asked to contact the Savannah Lamar police at 876-955-2536, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. 15-year-old missing from St. Catherine. An another alert has been activated for 15-year-old Kristen Maxwell of Washington Drive in Windsor Heights, St. Catherine, who has been missing since Saturday, April 30. She is of dark complexion, slim build, and is about 5 feet 2 inches tall. Reports from the Central Village Police are that Kristen was last seen at home about 6:30 a.m. She was wearing a black blouse and purple tights. She has not been heard from since. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Kristen Maxwell is asked to contact the Central Village Police at 876-984-2644, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. 19-year-old charged with murder. A 19-year-old male was charged with murder and illegal possession of firearm following the killing of 40-year-old Fitzroy Coburn of East Street, Kingston, on Wednesday, April 13. The accused has been identified as Troy Riley of Rum Lane, Kingston. Reports from the Central Police are that about 11:05 a.m., Fitzroy was sitting on the roadway when he was pounced upon by a lone gunman who opened gunfire, hitting him. Fitzroy was pronounced dead at hospital. Investigations led to Riley's arrest. He was interviewed in the presence of his attorney on Friday, April 29, and subsequently charged. His court date is being finalized. Kingston man charged for assault and robbery. 19-year-old Tafari Harris of Wall Street, Kingston, was charged with assault at common law, robbery with aggravation, and being armed with an offensive weapon stemming from an incident that occurred on Cargill Avenue, Kingston 10 on Friday, April 29. Reports are that a man was walking along the roadway when he was surrounded by a group of men armed with knives. Harris allegedly pointed the knife at the man's face and robbed him of his cellular phone, following which the group dispersed. Shortly after, a police team was seen and the man reported the incident to them. The men were pursued and Harris seen walking along Halfway Tree Road. He was accosted, searched, and the man's cellular phone and a knife found. He was subsequently charged. Harris' court date is being finalized. Triple murder triggers fear in Bedward Gardens. A series of loud explosions jolted residents of Bedward Gardens in St. Andrew from their sleep sometime after 4 a.m. on Saturday. A woman who spoke with reporters Saturday afternoon related how she immediately jumped for her bed and took cover. Amidst her panic, she heard screams outside and remembered that her two nephews, who had just returned from a party, had gone outside to the regular spot where they would drink and play Ludi and dominoes. When the explosion subsided and she inquired, she learned that both her nephews, 24-year-old Rashid Bobby Edwards and 18-year-old Keena Brent Ray, and their friend, who was identified as Jackson, were shot. Police later confirmed that Jackson is the son of the popular entertainer Sanchez, whose given name is Kevin Anthony Jackson. The young man's death came on the same day that Sanchez was burying his mother, Bridget Gardner Ivey, who passed away earlier this month in Canada at age 74. They felt peckish. They just came back home. Sanchez's son buy a juice and him not even get to pull it. It is still there on the table, the woman said. May 5 coming, Rashid would have been 25. He is just a jovial and nice person. He has a 1-year-old daughter, and from morning she called in for him, she added. Keenan no, he just turned 18 in January. We never expected this. The place is tense and the family is heartbroken, she told reporters. It was a lot of shots. I had to take cover. It is right outside my house. I had to get flat under my bed. Everybody is just scared right now, and the soldiers are not patrolling. They are just at the Zozo Zone of Special Operations checkpoint out on the main. I am scared right now, she continued. The owner of the shop where the men had stopped to make purchases discovered several bullet holes on his property. He showed reporters bullet holes on his cupboard and refrigerator in the shop. Police say that about 4:50 a.m., they received reports of gunfire in the community. When they arrived, Edwards, Ray, and Jackson were discovered lying on a dirt track near a football field with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. They were taken to hospital where they were pronounced dead. Up until Saturday evening, no one was arrested in relation to the killings. When reporters first visited the location about 7 a.m. on Saturday, the scene was cordoned off as soldiers and police officers patrolled the area. When reporters returned to the community after 6 p.m., the scene had been cleared. Residents told reporters that they wished the security forces were still present. Family and friends of the deceased were gathered outside under a tree near the crime scene. According to the Corporate Communications Unit (CCU) of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Major Investigation Division (MID) are probing the circumstances surrounding the shooting death of 3 men in Bedward Gardens on Saturday, April 30. Meanwhile, Edwards and Ray's aunt told reporters that she had lost her 31-year-old son to gun violence last year. He was killed in downtown Kingston by men who are suspected to be gang members from Bedward. She admitted, however, that she is more terrified now. The same war take my son last year March and now this, but me never afraid like this. This time, them come right at my gate and kill 3 persons. 3 persons. This show that they don't respect anybody. They don't care. Them just a do them thing. It no safe, me scared, she said. Since the start of the year, there have been 24 murders and 15 shootings in the St. Andrews Central Police Division. Living under the gun. The minute they hear explosions, which they suspect to be gunfire while studying, they hurriedly shove their books, pencils, and pens to the floor and take cover under their beds. That is the painful reality of ambitious children growing up in the vital community of Parade Gardens in central Kingston. And for many, it's not just the sound of the gunfire eating away at their youth. Through a Rise Life Management Partnership in the community last Thursday, a group of 9 children gathered at Law Street. When asked to indicate whether they had lost any family member to violence in the era, 5 eagerly raised their hands as it races to answer a question in class. Aspirant footballer 13-year-old Giovanni Williams was among the 5. The Kingston High School student lost his uncle and grandfather to gun violence. He said their killings also led to the death of his elderly grandmother. My uncle was killed and my grandmother was sick and she heard that family in the yard talking about it, and one morning we go to her and she wasn't breathing. And my grandfather was at his friend's place. The gunmen go and shoot up the place. He got 7 shots, the boy recalled. Williams said it was unfair that he had to go through that. It makes me feel afraid and want to leave this community. I feel very, very sad. When my uncle died, I was at my step-grandmother and my mother came and told me the news. On the same road, 3 days after, my mother called me again and she was outside crying. I asked her why she was crying and she said, my grandmother died. 12-year-old Sumar Hunt, a Covenant of Mercy academic, Alpha student, pulled down her mask to share that. I lost my cousin and almost lost my father. Grade 8 Vauxhall High School student Tevin Cowans has never lost a relative that way, but recall having to flee from his home to study on many occasions. Normally, when war starts up, I would go to my aunt that lives uptown, where no gunshot nor fire, so it would be easy for me, the 13-year-old shared. For Nashant Michael, a grade 7 student at St. Andrew High School for girls, the memory of her father's murder is still excruciatingly fresh. I lost my father, and I did not get any counseling. My mom comforted me, the girl said, biting her fingernails. Mere seconds later, she burst into tears, covering her face with both hands. When Smilka recovered, she lamented about having to study in her environment. To wake up every day and hear gunshot firing, it is hard to study in that noise. But if you have your head in the game and everything, you can get over it, she said. I just want to have money and come out of the ghetto. I want to be an entrepreneur, but first, I want to be a lawyer so I can make money and start my own business. My plan is to use my education to move out of the ghetto, the girl went on. Last year, 16 of 79 murders recorded in central Kingston were committed in Parade Gardens, ranking the community among the top 8 with the highest murders across the country. And so, earlier this year, residents welcomed a zone of special operations Zozo after it was declared by Prime Minister Andrew Holness on January 9. The Zozo remained in effect for 60 days. The Convention on the Rights of the Child stipulates that every child under age 18 has the right to be protected from violence. The Convention says governments must protect children from violence. Janelle Lawrence, an aspiring nurse and entrepreneur who was among the group of students at the Rights Live session, shared that she had to deal with the murder of her cousin. I lost my cousin, which is Nashana's father. It was his birthday and he went to buy something. I felt terrified at first. I heard that he was breathing, and then I heard that he was dead. The lane that he died on, me afraid to cross it, the grade 9 student of Downtown Technical High School reported. She too wishes she didn't have to grow up in a community where one has to become accustomed to gunfire. You have to just zone it out and put on your focus on your books and do it. It is very unfair, Lauren said. Lauren Tomlinson, 16, lost a nephew. I don't want to say I got counseling, but I got comforting, the Calabar High School student reported. I even play football without being cautious. I have to be watching my back every time. The place becomes really scanty at night, especially during the 6:30 region, so I have to go inside those times. Tomlinson said the environment is not conducive to studying, and problem for him especially now as he prepares for his end-of-year examinations. I don't study here. I stay at school late and read over my notes and revise and then come home. I don't study here because of the distraction when I shot a fire. Me come home and sit down and start study. I'm here blam blam blam. That no make no sense. I am going to lock down the laptop and lock the books down and just gone, the boy related. I had a conversation recently with my mother and she said she has been in this era for like all of her life. She asked me if I wanted to get her out and I say yes. She asked me how and I said, Mommy, may I go focus. This is what I am going to do. Shanique Bowden, Executive Director of Jamaica Youth Advocacy Network, pointed to the underlying issue of children being acclimatized to bloodshed. When you have young people growing up in inner-city communities and communities riddled with violence, the norm that they are accustomed to is violence. Some will make it out, some unfortunately won't, Bowden reported. When crime is all they know, when a life of violence is expected, it is easy to fall into that, especially when they feel like there are few options otherwise. The focus should be on a positive intervention within their schools and the wider community. A week after the area was declared a zone of special operation, Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson said the people of Parade Gardens have had some respite from the ongoing violence. The heavy deployment of police and military as a joint force, along with a suite of activities in surrounding areas, has had the desired effect of reducing the freedom of actions of gangs and thereby reducing to some degree the fear within the community. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.